What's up, YouTube family? It's your boy Deuce back with another video, man. Appreciate all the love, all the support. Like always, make sure y'all hit that like. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel so y'all can stay up to date every time I drop a new video, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video as this, whether it's a YouTube short, whatever it may be, man. Make sure y'all hit that bell notification so y'all can get a notification every time I post a new video, man. Like I said, I'm trying to convert this over to my full-time job. I am doing this on the side as well as running my clothing brand, True Faith Unbreakable. As y'all see, if y'all don't already, go check out our website, truefaithunbreakable.com. Put the link down in the description. Y'all go check that out, man. Cop some merch, help us out, be a blessing to us. And always, man, make sure you share this video with somebody so that they can be up to date and so that they too can be blessed by this devotion that we're going to get into today, man. We got a really good one, man. I appreciate you guys for liking. I appreciate you guys for watching the last one, where we are getting on there and talking. This is going to kind of be the same structure, same format. Today we are actually talking about keeping the faith. So it's so hard, and it's a challenge. I say that it's not really hard, but it's more so of a challenge to stay focused and to continue to do not only what God has called us to do, but what we know we ought to do, as well as not only doing what He's called us to do, but reverting our lives. Too many times we try to follow what we want to do and follow what we feel is best to do, but in reality, that's not what God has called us to do at all. So if we can focus on what God has called us to do, hound in on that, I'm telling you, man, not only will we see a change in our lives, but we'll see a change in our communities. We'll see a change in our state, in our city. We will just see an overall change in this world. But as we know, this world is wrapped up by Satan. This world is a part of his life and is a part of his scheme, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities of forces that are unseen. So if we can say, not only in His word, but stay focused on what He's called us to do and on His will and glorifying Him, then we will be in a much better situation, and He will have His covering over us and over our lives as we move forward and as we progress forward in this life, man. Yeah, I know that was kind of a long intro, but that's okay, man, because we just go keep this rolling. Hopefully this isn't a long video. I'm gonna try to keep this between less than 10 minutes. If I go over 10 minutes, I apologize, but it'll definitely be less than 15. But let's just hop right into this thing, man. So the text for today, we are coming from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. This is actually probably one of my favorite verses in the entire Bible. If y'all follow me on TikTok at deuce.ii, deuce.deuce.ii. Also, I'll put that down in the bottom. If y'all follow me on there, then we are reading through the book of Proverbs for our daily reader, our devotional read, whatever you want to call it. We're reading through the book of Proverbs right now, man, and it's so rich, it's so powerful, it's so applicable to everyday lives. It's the book of wisdom, and man, I love the book of Proverbs. So y'all can follow me on there. Not only do I post the scripture readings, I also do workout videos as well as drop our clothing brand. I do our clothing brand. I drop our promos and things like that on there. So yeah, go check that out, man, so y'all can get your faith-based apparel, your true faith apparel. Go ahead and cop that out, man. But let's get into this text. Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. So let's break down that verse real quick with our first point, trusting in Him. How do we trust in the Lord? You know, that word trust, it comes up, it pops up. We see it all the time. It's kind of like that word love. It's used so commonly. It's used so just tossed around that it really has no meaning to it. So what do it truly mean to trust someone? To put your all into someone, to not fully understand, but to believe in that person, or believe in that thing, or to believe in what they have going for themselves. You can trust your parents, you can trust your kids, you can trust the mailman to bring your mail on time. You know, that word trust, it is very versatile, but it can also be used differently. You know, as we see people take advantage of other people's trust, and I feel like one of the biggest reasons, or one of the biggest issues for that, is people can't really trust themselves. So if you can't really trust yourself, how can you expect somebody to trust you? How can you expect somebody to really trust you if you can't even trust yourself? And I feel like that's one of the biggest issues now, not only with trusting, people not being able to trust themselves, but also a respect thing. You can't respect somebody if you don't respect yourself. And I feel like we live in a world where people don't respect themselves at all, so they can't respect others or what other people have going on for themselves. But that's going to be another time for another tale, for another time, excuse me. And I'm probably going to talk about that one in my next devotion. So make sure y'all stay up to date, hit that bell. So if that's something that y'all would like to hear or like to see us talk about, then definitely let me know down in the comments, and I'll make a video about that as well. So trusting in him. In order to truly trust, in order to truly stay faithful to God, our family and our work, we must first put our trust in him, who is him and God sovereignly. Because not only is he our creator, but he's the one who supplies all of our needs. I know a lot of people might say they don't believe in God, but who wakes you up in the morning? Who starts you in your day? Who is the one who allows for the sun to rotate and the moon to shift, for it to be day and night? We could get off into that, but I don't want to go off and so on a tangent, and prolong this video. So, have you ever worked so hard on a goal or a dream, and you could have sworn that it was meant for you? Like, I know this is meant for me. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep working for it. But it turns out that it wasn't the plan that God had for you at all. You probably have even questioned God, asking, why have certain things happened in your life? Like, God, why are you allowing this to happen? I'm working so hard. I'm waking up. I'm grinding every single day for this. Why does it seem like the more I work, the further away it is, or the further away it gets, or the more I try to make this happen, something just always comes up, keeping me from achieving this goal, or keeping me from doing whatever it is that I am trying to do? As we can see in the first half of this verse, we are to trust in the Lord and not lean on our own understandings, man. Not say, oh, this is supposed to be this way because I think it's supposed to be this way, or logic, or which is good to apply logic, but sometimes with God, man, he works in mysterious ways. Quick story real quick, man. Me and my wife, I don't know if I say, me and my wife were actually checking our account the other day, and earlier today, and we noticed that some money was in our savings, and that was deposited back in July, I want to say. And I can't remember if I put it in there, she can't remember she put it in there, and she was questioning, like, dang, where does money come from? How did it get in there? And I was just like, you know what, babe, don't even question it. Like, it's in there, it's not going nowhere. God obviously knew what our needs was. We came up with a list the other day, sat down and actually discussed this, like planning our week, planning our months, planning our year, because we have the kid on the way. So we actually sat down and said, all right, before our baby gets here, we need to do this. We need to have this. We need this in place, that in place. And actually wrote it down and discussed it. And in doing that, God was able to see our efforts putting in. And as they say, faith without works is dead. We were able to apply faith, not only apply faith, trusting that God will provide the things that we need, but we apply works. We actually sat down and wrote it down, made a plan, and we are actually putting forth effort into getting these things, into saving and stuff, into applying the things that we need and that we want and that we are trying to establish. God saw that, and not only did he bless us, but he did it in a miraculous way. We wasn't expecting that money. We wasn't, but it was in there. And all we can do is just thank God for it. And that's what I told her. Babe, don't stress about where it came from, how it got in there, because it's in there now. God obviously saw that we had a need for it, and he blessed us with that. So instead of questioning him and asking why this, why that, just take it as it is, focus on God, and he will reveal it sooner or later why he's doing stuff. Simply speaking, we are to stop doubting ourselves and where we are in our certain points of our lives and start trusting God, trusting where we are, how we got there, and how we're going to get out of it. instead of stressing and worrying, and because there's no reason for that. God says to lay all of our burdens aside and put it on Him. Focus on today, and He will make do, and we will make do. So that is what we ought to do, and we ought to trust in God with us right where we are, and know that He has us where He wants us to be in this point in time. We are to commit our ways to the Lord, trusting in Him, and He will act. Psalms 37:5. Many of y'all already know this, but if you don't, I played football back in high school. I played in college as well. I transferred, and then of course eventually I got out of it. I feel like I didn't really have the opportunities that others was granted. Just granted, I played, and I actually made it to the next level. Not many people can say that. But my biggest thing, or my biggest setback, was injuries. I was a lot smaller, and I guess I didn't really take the weight room as serious as I do now. I was more focused on the skill aspects and the training aspect of football, which is what I love, man. I love the field aspect of it. But I suffer a lot of injuries starting my senior year. Well, actually before senior year, I would get sprained ankles, sprained wrists, and things like that. But of course, being football players, we play through that stuff. I didn't get my first serious injury until my senior year. The very first game, the day of the game, I woke up, my leg was hurt. My leg was messed up. It was a little swollen. Did walkthroughs and everything. I can't walk at this point. My leg has gotten a lot swollen. Go to my trainer, of course, back and forth from different doctors. All on the very first day of the game. We're supposed to be opening up later on tonight. Debut, you feel me? This is my senior season. Back and forth from different doctors. They find out what it was. I had a hematoma in my right thigh from a collision that I had at practice 2 weeks prior that fractured or punctured a vein that eventually ruptured, causing a huge pool of blood into my thigh. And my thigh has swelled all the way up. So long story short, of course, I go to therapy, rehab, and all that. I don't come back until game 5. At that point, they have sophomores, juniors already playing. They're not going to focus on the senior. They're not going to throw a senior back out there when they got these younger guys that they have been working with. At the time, I didn't realize it. At the time, I didn't understand what's going on. But football is a business, and the coaches have to protect their assets and have to protect what they have going on. Granted, I feel like I still could have played and still could have done what I was supposed to do and done my part, but the coaches didn't see it that way. Nevertheless, not going on a whole soap opera, God still provided me with a scholarship and an opportunity to go to college. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that. Once I got in college, of course, same thing, dealt with injuries, torn shoulders, different things that allowed me, of course I redshirted, but it was just like I was taking pounding after pounding. My body was just getting hit and hit. So I just did not get the playtime that I thought I would. Of course, transferred back. Took some time off, focused in, got my family things together, focused on what I wanted to do. Decided to get back in football after I had taken the weight room serious. But of course, another injury, 2 injuries as a matter of fact, actually 3. I had an ankle surgery and I had 2 knee surgeries, as most of y'all already know. I say all that to say, my plan was to play football. My plan was to go pro, or at least Canadian ball, arena ball, to play football. Football was my life. I literally grew up playing football and that was all I knew. That was my goal, that was my plans. But God had fit for it to go another way. And it took injury after injury after injury, comeback after comeback after comeback, for me to realize maybe this isn't the plan God has for me. Maybe this isn't what God has established for my life or the direction He wants me to go into my life. So making that decision to hang up my cleats for good was probably one of the hardest decisions I had ever made, because I knew I still had it in me. I knew I could still get out there and ball. I knew I had more to give. So I'm able to apply that grind. I'm able to apply that hustle and that mentality that I'm not going to quit, that I'm not going to give up, that I'm going to keep fighting to not only putting out good content for you guys, but to also my clothing brand, to also fitness, to also helping other kids, helping other student athletes get to that point of coming from nothing to something, to give them that feel of what it's like to train as a professional. My goal is to train professional athletes. In order to get to that point, I have to have a resume of showing that I can produce professional grade athletes. So that is my goal, and that is the path that I see God having me on now. Because not only am I helping others reach their goal, I'm able to connect with so many more people. I'm able to grow so much more, man. I have a family. I have a beautiful wife, a beautiful son, a beautiful baby on the way. I got 2 dogs and 3 guinea pigs, as y'all see. I'm blessed, man. And I can't say I would be in this position right now if it was not for the hand of God keeping me from getting out there on that football field. Because as many of y'all know, man, CTE is real. All these other injuries are real. So I thank God that I did have the little injuries that I did, because it set me down and it made me realize that life is more than just football. Life is more than just getting out there taking a beating. Life is about serving. How can I serve others in what I do now? But I had to trust God with where He was leading my life. If I didn't trust Him, I would not be where I'm at today. I would not be sitting here making this video for you guys. I would not have a beautiful wife with beautiful kids. So I thank Him for those things. It's too many times we can get wrapped up in, oh, this should have happened for me. Oh, that should have happened for me. But you just got to sit back, let God work, and just look at the bigger picture. Just be grateful and just be thankful. So point two, acknowledging Him. What does it mean to acknowledge God? It means that we recognize that He is God and we acknowledge His authority in what we are doing. So by simply doing what we are led to believe, that not only will God order our steps, but He will make a way in all that we do. In our last video, I touched on being patient and being in the present, not worrying about tomorrow and not worrying about yesterday, but focusing on where we are today. Just stay in tunnel vision, looking to what God has for us, removing all distractions, because they're going to come. I'm telling you, as you grow closer with God on the spiritual walk with whatever you're doing, or as you grow closer to your goals, if they are aligned with God's will, Satan will try to do whatever he can to distract you. He will try to do whatever he can to tempt you. He will come at you from every single angle. You have to stay tight. You have to stay tunnel vision, and you have to stay focused, because his goal is to distract you, as we see in so much social media, the media, TV, everything. You don't even see people outside no more. You don't see kids going outside no more, because they are like this, on their iPad, on their tablets. That's all they are. They're glued to those things, and they have no energy. They have no focus. They wonder why they get in a lot of trouble or grow up and can't really comprehend or can't really live off of these things, because that's all they know. That's all they grew up doing. But that's not really on them. That's on the parents, but we can get off into that later. We are to remove all distractions so that we can clearly hear His voice and His will and His calling and what He's telling us. A lot of people say, oh man, I talk to God, this and that, but He's not talking back. Because you go sit, you go, here's what they do. They pray about something. Oh God, give me $1 million. And then they sit there. Oh, where's my money, God? You promised me $1 million if I prayed. Faith without works is dead. You ask for $1 million, but He's not going to give you $1 million. He's going to put you in a position to where you can earn $1 million, whether that's putting you in front of a computer to where you could look up how to make $1 million, whether that's supplying with a job so that you can get out here and work for $1 million. Even something simple as waking you up, having a heartbeat, having air in your lungs, having legs and arms that move and function, having a brain that you can use to apply to make that $1 million. People don't look at it that way. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. You can't believe in something and then just sit back and hope for the best, or say, oh, I'll pray for you, but you don't really pray, or you don't really do nothing. You have to pray and be in constant prayer, and if it's His will, He will apply it. He will give it to you. Not just give it to you like here, because then you won't value it. You won't grasp it. You won't fully catch on to it. You have to get out here and work for it, because if you work for something, you hold it to a higher standard than if you were just giving it. You value that thing a lot more. So God is not just going to give you what you want. He's going to put you in a position to apply and to earn what you want. Too often we try to get in the place of God and make decisions for Him, or feel he's not moving according to our time, and we try to force God's plan, which we cannot do. God's will is going to happen whether we like it or not. So our best bet is to just get on board, to follow along with him, so it can be a blessing for us and a blessing for others instead of trying to fight him. Well, whatever it is we try to force never works out the way we want it, and we end up right back to square one. So first we must acknowledge God is letting go. First, acknowledging God is letting go, and in the words of our elders, letting him take the wheel. We have to simply put our lives in his hand. We can't say, oh God, I trust you, I put my life in your hand, and then we go out here and we try to make decisions on our own. We have to fully trust him, sit back, be patient, and listen. Listen to what he's saying, listen to how he's leading and where he's directing us. So in conclusion, we as believers and followers are to give up on our will and focus on the will of the Lord. We are to continue the faith in all we do by acknowledging that God is Lord. We are to stay focused, removing all distractions, and looking to God for our strength. To trust doesn't mean that our lives will be perfect, because your life would not be perfect. There is no such thing as perfection or perfect. There's only one man that was perfect, and his name was Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. He's the only person that was perfect. We are to live the way he lived, not be like Christ, but be of Christ. As we see many names in the Bible, Job, Moses, Joseph, and many others are not only tested, tempted, but also persecuted, and some were even put to death. But nevertheless, they kept faith in God, and they continue to look toward him as their Savior, and continue to keep him as their as their faith, and continue to trust in him and have faith in him and his will and his standard for their lives. And these are perfect examples for us, because this is how we ought to be. We ought to look to God in all that we do, trusting him, acknowledging that he is Lord, leaning not to our own understanding, but standing firm in the faith, putting on the full armor of God. I got my vest on today because it was perfect for this video. We ought to put on the full armor of God, trusting in him, not in man, and he will direct our paths. So then, that's it for this video, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel so y'all can stay up to date every time I drop a new video. Let me know down in the comments if y'all like these devotional type videos. My goal is to do one a week, every week, and drop it. So, and then of course break it down, put the shorts on social media. So y'all let me know if y'all like this style of video. As we get closer to working toward getting the podcast back up and running, I have a lot of people lined up for that podcast, so I'm really excited about that, man. We gonna be on here dropping gems for you guys, man, for sure. But that's it for this video, man. It's your boy Deuce. See y'all in the next, man. Peace.